Hey, what's up, guys? Writer director Jody S. Dean here. Welcome back to the Scream Scene. I'm in another one of my offices here today, and it's currently in the works. So soon, this is going to be a pretty cool looking background behind me. Background doesn't matter so much. What I'm going to talk about today could be beneficial to the filmmakers out there. If you're not a filmmaker, if you have no interest in this, no worries. There's going to be plenty of other content here, but this is something. I like giving people information. I like giving these truth nuggets is what I like to call them. Because a lot of people out there, they want to do something. They don't know how to do it. I've been there. I've done that. I'm 40 years old, and I have a lot of experience, knowledge, and a lot of successes under my belt. So I'm not that guy that's like, oh, I don't want to tell them because then they'll do it. I don't think like that. I've known a lot of people who are like, why would you do that? Why give that information away for free? Why not? Really? Like, I wish somebody would have done it for me. They didn't. Everything that I know did come from experience through trial and error. So what I want to do is I want to give some of my knowledge to you guys that are seeking distribution for your films. Some of you guys out there that want to get your film seen, you just don't know how to do it. And I know there's a lot of people out there. So it's easier than ever, but it's harder than ever. I know that's weird. It's like, well, which one is it, Jody? So it's easier in the aspect there's a lot more avenues nowadays to get your your films distributed, but it's harder than ever because there's so many people that are in the film game that, we don't see as many theater releases that we used to. We see a lot of straight to DVD, a lot of straight to streaming services. And actually, we're seeing a lot less straight to DVD, and we're seeing more things go to streaming services more than ever because we're living in the times of stream, which is nothing wrong with that. But there's so much content out there. If you don't have something that pretty much just organically gets a buzz on its own, or you don't have a significant amount of money or clout to push it, it may not get seen. It may just get buried out there. So I'll give you a perfect example. I made my first movie last year, and it got seen very, very well. I'm super impressed by it. It's one of my best successes. However, it wouldn't have got seen as much as it did had I not had a platform to help push it. Let's say that I didn't have the platform and I dropped the movie last year. Probably barely anybody would have seen that film. But because I have 250,000 followers on one platform, 20,000 on this one, 20,000 on this one, yada, 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 I was able to continuously say, hey, check this out. Guys, go check this out. Here's this website. Here's this link. And I never stopped doing that. I'm still pushing that movie from last year, and now I've released my second movie, and I'm pushing that one too. But let's say you don't have a platform. Let's say you don't have a lot of money. But you do come up with a good product. Guess what? There's somebody out there that still wants your film. But the big question is, should you do it? Should you sign your baby, your film, your hard work over to somebody? And basically, we're going to back up for a second here, okay? The question is, should you? How do you? When do you do it? Let's say that you've just finished your film. It's completed. You haven't even designed a cover or, any promo or anything like that. You've got it. It's done. And you're like, you know what? I need to go to step 2. I need to get this seen. I need to get it on streaming services. Hopefully we can get a limited run in movie theaters, or maybe a big run. It just depends on, usually if you have a buzz, they're going to come to you. So this is more for the people that don't have a buzz going on, and you're kind of in those stages like, man, I got something good, but nobody knows about it. People haven't watched the trailer. Maybe 400 people watched the trailer. Maybe 100 people actually seen a poster, but I want more than 100 people to see my movie. So you're in those stages right there. You're just like bare bones, right? The good news is you still may have something very valuable to somebody. They may, usually the way it will work is if you don't have an agent, you're going to have to seek them out. You're going to have to send some emails. You're going to have to make some calls. You're going to have to do some networking. There are a lot of distribution companies out there. I don't want to name drop any of them because I can't vouch for any of them because I do my own distribution. And I'll tell you why towards the end of this video, why I decided to go that route and do my own. But there are a lot of great companies out there, and there's a lot of companies that are a big question mark. And some of them, they have a big question mark on them, but then there's other people that say, hey, they did me right. A lot of people, once they sign a distribution deal, they expect that that's it. Bam, we're out of here. We're taking off. That's just not the case. You could complete a movie that is great, phenomenal. You sign a distribution deal today, and they put it on the streaming services. They're going to do as much as they feel like the movie deserves. They're more likely to do more if they think you do have a hit on your hands, just like an album. Hey, we should put a lot of money behind this. This album's taking off. But did you hear that magic word? It's taking off. Let's put money behind it. If your movie's not taking off, why are they going to put money behind it? Movies are a little bit different than music. Music is very easy to, I don't mean very easy, but it's easier to go in the studio, record a song, and then just go drop it on social media. You can't just go make a movie and then drop it on social media. It takes a lot of work to make a movie. You're not going to go on social media and give it away for free. I know people that have done that. My hat's off to them. I can tell you that even working with the micro budget, even making a more simplified movie, it's still a lot of work. I mean, my first movie, we spent many, many months on set, and the whole time we were on set, I was also editing as I was going along. Something I do, something most people don't do. A lot of people wait till a project's done before they edit. I don't do that because I am the filmmaker. I'm the one that's filming them. I'm the one that's editing them. I do a lot of jobs that require to make a film. But, you're not going to spend a lot of time making a product and then just give it away for free. It's different if it's a short film. Short films are in some cases, a lot easier to make. It doesn't cost. You can make a no-budget short film. Put it out there. Maybe you get some film festival awards. Maybe you get some acknowledgement. Maybe some people see your style or your the way you write, and they wanna hire you or put money behind you. So short films are a good way to get a buzz going on. It's a good way to get out there, to be known. But when you put the work into making a feature film, you have to recoup some of your money. And if you don't, then please tell me what you're doing. I know when I make something, I want it to be seen, but I also have to be a businessman about it and have to say, what's the best way for this to be seen that I can still make a good amount of money? I have two films right now, on Prime. I'm very happy with Prime. A lot of people have said, why don't you throw it on Tubi for free? That may work for a lot of people. And I love Tubi. I watch Tubi probably a few times a week. I actually would like to see my films on Tubi one day. But as of right now, for me, Prime is working. I like it. And I am in control of my distribution. Let's say you don't know what I know. You don't want to take, those steps. It's too much for you. It took all you could do to make this movie. And you're like, I just need to give this to somebody. I need to get it seen. I need to, maybe you're working a regular job or you got other things going on. You reach out to these distribution companies, and what's going to happen is they're going to probably take about 20 to 40% of your money to distribute your film. Now, this doesn't mean it's going to get seen. They might put it out there to where it can get seen, putting it on streaming services. Maybe they believe in it enough to, basically give you a manufacturing deal to where manufacturing and distribution, they're going to print up copies. They're going to put them out there. They're going to put them in stores. If you don't have a buzz, who's going to go to the store and buy them? When we were kids, especially, I remember that's what got me started was going in mom and pop VHS stores and seeing the DVD covers, and I would rent a movie based on the cover. There are a lot of people out there like that. There's a lot of people that buy a comic book because it has a cool cover. I'm guilty of that as well. I just love art. And a lot of times, if somebody puts a lot of work into the art, it can mean that they put a lot of work into their project. And then some people have picked up on that trick and they're like, hey, I know we got a shitty film, but let's make sure we have a really cool cover. We'll get them to buy it. It'll be horrible, and that's okay because we're going to make money. That doesn't work. Like, you might get that quick buck, but hopefully you're here to stay and you care about filmmaking beyond money, and you want to be a name in the industry. That's what I want. Like, money's important, we can't lie, but it can't be the deciding factor in your every decision. Now, these companies, like I said, they're going to take 20, 30, 40%. Here's the problem. Depending on what streaming services they lock you in with, those companies are going to take a percentage as well. When it's all said and done, you might be in a situation where you're only getting 30% of your film. Now, if you raised money, maybe from investors, you have the first money you get, you have to pay your investors back. Once they're paid back, then you start making profit. Well, that can be very hard once you give all your percentages away. Now, in some cases, there are people who do crowdfunding and they raise the money that way, and there's no guarantee, or maybe actually people are just getting perks or something like that. So let's say that that's the situation. You've raised $100,000. You got to give these people all these perks. So you're waiting for the money to come in so you can give out the perks. Because I'm assuming since you had to raise money to get the film, you don't have enough money to get all their perks. So now when the movie comes out, they're waiting for their perks forever because you're only getting 30% at a time. Now here's the biggest thing, okay? This is even bigger. Get ready. When you sign a distribution company, you're no longer in charge of the money that comes in. That money goes straight to them. So the streaming services are going to pay them, and most distribution companies only pay you quarterly. I've done my research, folks. That's why I do my own distribution. I own my own company. I do my own distribution. Is it tiring? Yes, absolutely. My wife's full time at packaging DVDs and sending them all day, every day. Good news is it's something that she's kind of got a system for. She's willing to do it. She enjoys helping me, and it's benefiting all of us. It's benefiting our kids because, we incorporate our family into our films and our projects. So you got to find out what benefits you, but you need to realize that once you sign that distribution deal, most of these people are going to go ahead and lock you in for 3 to 5 years, maybe even longer. So there are situations where you can negotiate that and say, hey, I'd like to put my film up with you for a year and see, what you do for me. I'd like to see how that relationship goes. And if it goes great, I want to continue with you, but I just don't know. Some companies will do that. Some won't. It's just mandatory. It's just like, hey, this is what we do here, 3 to 5 years. So just imagine you've spent 6 months making a movie. You signed this deal. Now, they're going to put it out there, but let's say that's it. They just put it out there. Now, you're not really making any money because it's not getting seen. However, people are watching the movie. You're seeing views here and there, and now you're thinking, oh, man, this distribution company's ripping me off. That's not the case, man. Like, sometimes maybe 14, 15 people might see it, but it doesn't mean that that's a big check. So you've put it out there. You're waiting 3 months. Every time you're waiting 3 months to get your check, you get your checks, you see these little amounts, and you're like, that's it? A lot of people think the distribution companies are ripping them off. That's not the case. You are in a pool of a ton of people who are trying to swim. You're in a pool of with a ton of filmmakers that are trying to be seen. And it's very hard. A lot of people have a lot of good films. Like I said, if I would have put out my film without having a platform, I know it wouldn't have got seen. Because even though I have a platform and I have like 40 million views to my name, it's not like publication companies like went out of their way to write about me. Dread Central's never wrote about me. Like, certain people didn't pick it up that I had hoped would, and maybe they still will. But like, with that said, like, my movie did good because I've put the work in. And it doesn't mean that you haven't put the work in. I've got very, very lucky. I'm very, very blessed. But there are filmmakers out there that work their asses off, and they're going to feel like they never catch a break. It's going to seem like you never catch a break. I do know if you put the work in, it always can only lead to somewhere better. But you have to ask yourself, is that a risk you're willing to take? And I don't think a lot of people think about it like that. I think they just say, oh, there's this company. They got, 4,000 movies in their catalog that they're distributing. And this person's with it. That film was huge. Doesn't mean that's going to happen for you. And also, you got to know up front, or hopefully now this will help you, that it's a big risk. It's a big risk. You're basically signing your baby over, and you're hoping that you're going to get to see it once in a while. And that's a scary, scary thing. I recently have talked to some distribution companies because I was curious about possibly getting in Walmart. And I wanted to see, what are the chances they thought that could happen, if not with the previous two films, if maybe one of the ones that are coming up. And after just looking at paperwork and having little chats and doing research and just stuff that I already know, I was just like, you need to keep doing what you're doing, because first off, I think eventually DVDs are going to be obsolete. I've talked about this on this channel before. I hate that. I think there's always going to be a market for them, but I think as far as stores carrying them, I think they're going to be gone. It's going to be straight from freaking, the film studio's website, and that's fine. I think the only DVDs that are really going to continue to boom are going to be things in the horror genre, because that genre people really, really support. Horror fans, there's nothing like horror fans. I've said this a million times. It's the way I feel, and it's the truth. Horror fans want the action figures. They want the posters. They want the tattoos. They want to go to the cons and get the autographs. They want every DVD. They want the steel books. They want every kind of drop that you possibly do. And you know how I know that? Because I'm a horror fan too. I'm not just a horror filmmaker. I'm a horror fan. So yeah, as far as distribution deals go, you got to be very, very careful, because, some of these companies are snakes. Some of them are great. Even the great ones, you could sign Robert Downey Jr. to be in your movie. It doesn't mean it's going to be a success. You can have a brick of gold. It doesn't mean you're going to get asking price for it. I know that from the gate. I'm like, hey, my movie Mallet 2 is actually really good. I think this one should do better. My first movie did better than my second movie in this time frame so far. Now, could Mallet 2 still do better? Is it still going? Yes. However, a lot of times when you drop something, especially something that's going to be, you hope to be a franchise, if people don't like the first one, they won't take the time to watch the second one. And a lot of people on my first movie they liked the movie, but a lot of people were discouraged or disappointed there wasn't more blood and more gore. And that's what I promise. That's what people know me for. People have heard me talk. They know my style. And they were like, man, I really thought you were going to bring a lot of blood and gore to it. And I was like, man, it was my first movie. I was working 50 jobs, on this set. And I just didn't want to overwhelm myself. It may have cost me people, and I might be wrong too, because even those people that said that, they were like, I still liked it. It was still good. But yeah, I thought there was going to be more blood and gore. So what did I do? Mallet 2 is 10 times better of a film. There's tons of blood and gore. However, did I possibly cost myself some people with the first movie that's what they were hoping for in the first one? Now they're probably like, I was going to watch part 2, but I don't know, man. I want more blood and more gore. Hey, I feel you. Me too. And I wanted to do that with part 1. I wanted to get through the first movie and not bite off more than I could chew. With part 2, I realized I can handle it. And I actually went above and beyond. I just won an award for best special effects in a horror film for part 2. Part 2 is clearly a better film. But, I can tell you guys from my experience and me doing this, you can distribute your own film. I've done a lot of things on my own. I've owned many businesses, and that's why that was the best fit for me to do my own distribution, because I'm like, hey, I might have a small team behind me, a family team, but there's nothing stronger than family, and we can get through this and we can do this. And it hasn't gotten so big that we, have been just completely overwhelmed. However, there has been days where we went to the post office and brought 400 to 500 DVDs with us, and that's basically an all day there if you even get through it. Sometimes we've had to come back the next day and even a third day. So, I mean, just imagine, that person at the teller just sitting there. They kind of pretty much have to shut their line down or have to say, hey, look, we'll give you a call when we get through them. I'm going to have to work on them in between, customers coming in. So, there's that. Distribution companies, they have their part. If you plan on doing big numbers, it's probably smart to go with the distribution company. However, you should still do your homework. You should still know who you're getting into bed with. Ask a lot of questions, negotiate your contract, make sure you're comfortable with it. And, hopefully this is beneficial to some people out there, because I've seen a lot of things in forums and comment sections, and I'm like, I would love to just take the time to write every single person, but I don't have that time. Let me make a video and explain it, how it works, the pros and the cons. So, guys, I'm writer-director Jody S. Dean. I hope this was helpful and beneficial to you guys, and I hope to see your movies out there and being seen in the very near future. Thank you for your time. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Until next time, sweet nightmares.